Test, test, test.
Should I say something?
Yeah, speak at a regular volume for you.
Sorry.
Just like, I guess that lines up with the typical.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Suck cock.
This is test.
I might actually
So glad we could bring the whole gang together.
We're missing Zach though, and Trinity.
Minus two.
bring the whole gang together.
The gang's all here.
Minus accessories.
Oh my god. I'm gonna tell Zach you said that.
How would Zach feel being called an accessory
I don't think they'd like it that much.
to murder?
They'd probably be like, "Oh, damn, you're right."
Oh, damn. That's all you thought of me?
Damn.
Welcome back to what we usually do.
It's really not, though, when you think about it.
Anymore, we don't play this much anymore.
I mean, times get busy.
I mean, it's the podcast.
Welcome back to this.
This thing that we occasionally do when we have the time.
Some bullshit.
Kai's with us.
No, I'm not. I'm not real.
Last time that Kai was on, we did What Would You Rather, and we were thinking we need to do an episode when Kai comes back of just letting him talk about Death Battle, and that'll be what the episode is for 2 hours.
Especially because last time, I went out of my way to specifically do my best to never bring up Death Battle, because I knew that the moment I brought it up, it was going to turn the whole thing into that.
So we decided we'll give it an outlet, and then we'll never hear it again, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You'll never ever hear me talk about Death Battle ever again.
By the way, watch our series on Kai's channel, watching every Death Battle ever.
I'm gonna give Nick some PTSD with Bowser.
As of today, we did just record an episode of that.
A preemptive one.
Yeah.
It's probably not gonna go up for a little bit, but it's fine.
It does mark the first time I'm, featured on Facecam
Yes, that is true.
ever.
He was not ever, maybe not ever, on my channel though.
Yeah, I guess unless Nick has been on my camera, you're not usually on camera.
Not usually, no.
There's, I think, a couple, the intro video for the old Lightning Round Battleground stuff that he's in.
Yeah.
And then a couple videos on your channel, but that's it.
Only old playthroughs, though. And if that.
Yeah, so Luke has been kind enough to not kick me out from his house.
As if it's not also Nick's place.
Yeah, but Nick wasn't here when I got here, so I have squatters' rights over him.
You said that last time as I was walking in the door with the key.
So I did want to start, because finding a starting point's kind of rough. Just, do you guys have anything you'd like to just talk about specifically?
I'm
with
gonna
Death
say
Battle?
no.
I guess as context, we're recording this right before the Kratos Asura fight comes out.
Yeah, it comes out in 2 days. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're excited for that one, but we don't know how it is yet. We don't know what's about it.
Yeah.
A little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. This series has a very long history of immensely disappointing me, among other things.
To be fair, it has burned me so many times.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times, there was in season, was it 9? Yeah, 9. I actually made the decision that I didn't end up keeping very long, but I did make the decision to stop watching because I was so upset with Trunks versus Silver. I've kind of backpedaled on that one. I see where they're coming from now. I still think they could have worded things different.
You said that was which season?
9. Everyone went into this episode with this kind of notion of Trunks is going to win, and that it was going to end up being a thing where Trunks never loses on any versus show ever, because he'd been on a couple other I don't want to say lesser, less popular versus shows, 1 Minute Melee and Cartoon Fight Club, and he'd never lost.
Oh.
And then the Death Battle comes out and Trunks fucking loses. And a lot of people, many people were very okay with it, and they looked at the results, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Myself included, a lot of people were looked at the results and could not see where the hell they were coming from. I still think that their explanation was a little weak. However, I have come around because I've learned more about Archie.
You agree with the results overall, at least?
To an extent. I think it's one of those things where it's very close. It can go to either person depending on your interpretation of certain abilities.
You're rationalizing. Die horribly angry and emotionally constipated. That's the only way.
It's definitely it's one of those ones that I could look at and see, okay, yeah, Silver can win this. It just felt like they didn't know how to properly explain that Silver could win, so they just nerfed Trunks to make it easier to explain.
Oh.
Which it pissed me off because like I'm not even the biggest Trunks fan in Dragon Ball, but
Well, you're definitely a Dragon Ball fan.
I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, and seeing a character that I do like, even if it's not to a massive extent, seeing him lose in a way, and the way they explain it definitely pissed me off, which I think is one of the few blemishes I will say on that season as a whole.
That episode is a blemish, or
It was. As of now, it's an episode I give it like a solid 8.
okay.
Because if it wasn't for how poor the explanation is, it would be a solid 10. That season, I will say, as much as I love a lot of episodes in season 9, it is a massive mix of some of the worst episodes they've ever produced, and I shouldn't say that. Some very mid episodes,
Okay.
but also like some of their best. Season 9 was a weird season.
You wouldn't say it's full of really bad ones, though.
No, I don't think there's one episode that for a while, not Trunks versus Silver, I didn't hate that one for too long because I did recognize how good the animation and stuff was.
Yeah.
Boba Fett versus the Predator, that was an episode that I had been waiting years for, and then they did it and I hated it. It was bad.
I can't remember. What was your complaints about that one? Because we did watch that one together.
We did not watch that one yet. Or no, me and you did.
Yeah.
I had a couple. For one, the animation felt very choppy almost. Everything felt slow and like it didn't really connect. The If It Bleeds track they made really sucked. I hate shitting on Brandon Yates and Theirwolf Media's work because they're very talented people, but I just hated If It Bleeds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of... They've done a lot of tracks now, and every once in a while there's going to be a lesser one. That's fine. Because a lot of stuff he makes is great.
But the thing that pissed me off the most is I hated their explanation of Predator losing. It's one of those things that I tend to, even if an episode's not amazing, I tend to not hate it unless they can't convince me on their outcome. And they did not convince me that Boba Fett would win.
Okay.
They make some points that, they make a lot of sense. Like, a lot of Predator's arsenal probably couldn't get through the Mandalorian armor because it can block lightsabers. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then they just completely ignore the fact that Predator's scythe doesn't cut through armor, it phases through to hit the flesh.
Oh.
And they have shit like they bring up his lightsaber, that Boba Fett's fire and lightsabers could mess with the Predator's thermal vision, except the Predator can switch between multiple different types of vision. It doesn't just have thermal. So that wouldn't be as much of a nerf. And the other big one is their comparison of what they hunt. And they basically say that because Boba Fett hunts Jedi, that's more dangerous than xenomorphs.
So he's just inherently a better hunter.
Yeah, which I will throw this out there. 9 times out of 10, the fucking Jedi, they're not on the same level as Anakin or Luke or anything like that. They are getting their asses kicked by the weirdest fucking shit.
Yeah, actually, because I've also been thinking a little bit about this. In the Star Wars universe, unless you're a main character with like a full legible name that people hear, instead of background alien 3, you kind of fucking suck. Like, I would rather have a blaster than a short
Be a
range
shitty Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I completely fucking agree. Especially because they're really downplaying the fucking xenomorphs. The xenomorphs are deadly, man.
Yeah, especially when you get into like the comics and stuff.
Oh,
where
yeah.
they start there's like hybrids with like random things.
The one thing that I will say I was happy about with this episode is the Death Battle Curse did take place, which I don't think I've ever explained that to either of you.
What is the Death Battle
So the Death Battle Curse is a series that's been kind of dormant for a minute, gets put on Death Battle, and then all of a sudden new content gets put out that probably could have been used in the episode.
Oh.
And the moment the episode got announced, we got the crossover Marvel comic announced. Not a crossover comic. It was just a Predator comic produced by Marvel.
Okay.
As well as we got the Prey movie.
Oh.
So
And how soon after was that?
the Prey movie was like less than a year after I think it got announced.
Wait, what is?
Prey.
Yeah, what is that?
It was a Hulu movie that of Predator, but it was like in the first movie, he comes down during one of the wars. I can't remember, in like the 80s or something.
Yeah.
He came back. The Predator came down during like ancient times. Like it was like people with spears and stuff.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Wait,
Fossil
yeah,
Fire
and I have
Warriors.
seen. I have
And
seen
the
clips of that.
Predator wasn't advanced either. It wasn't a great movie, but it was an okay movie.
But that would have changed things, right?
I probably could have.
Is that what you were referring to? Was like, it's a trope for Death Battle to like release things on the day that some other extremely critical information comes out?
It always just tends to. Goku versus Superman came out, the first one, and then like I don't know, 3 months later, Dragon Ball Super got announced. Or not Dragon Ball Super, the Battle of Gods movie, which then turned into Super. Like it's just it constantly happens. But if I'm being real, a lot of people, myself included, fucking love it because it's a way to look at it like, oh, this series has been dormant for forever. Now we get to see it again, and a lot of people are hoping it's probably not going to happen that after Kratos Asura, we'll finally get the Asura's Wrath remaster.
Ooh.
Do you think that creators of media are kind of like watching at the trends and be like, oh, people are really into this right now because of Death Battle, so
I mean,
maybe
yeah.
we'll start on this thing.
Absolutely.
Why don't we just change it completely?
I would say 100% because they've been reached. Multiple companies have reached out to them to do episodes.
Oh, that's true. Are those some of the ones that then something comes out later?
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, it feels deliberate when you put it like that.
Only sometimes because they don't have control over it all. But like Warframe paid them to do an episode in sponsorship with new DLCs coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Capcom tried to get them to do an episode with Ryu, but they were like, Ryu has to win, and so they told him fuck you. And then they did a Ryu episode of their own volition anyway.
Ryu kind of
And did he win?
sucks. Like,
I'm not gonna say who won that one.
Oh,
just
is that
because
one we haven't seen?
It's for episodes that are coming in the future. I don't mind talking about the winner and all that because they're kind of far removed from them. But for Ryu versus Scorpion specifically, that one's coming up. I think next episode we're gonna watch.
Oh yeah, definitely. Know about that one.
well, I'm also only basing that thing that I said a minute ago on the fact that like Ryu is not even like the most popular character in Street Fighter anymore.
He's not.
Yeah, he used to represent the mascot.
He's still really cool, and he's a lot more powerful than people probably give him credit. Ryu has 2 episodes now. Ryu versus Scorpion is definitely not like the pinnacle of the season, but it's a pretty good episode of season 2.
Okay.
But Ryu versus Jin it's in the top 5 for season 5. Like it's very good. I think I told Nick about this. I don't think I told you this, which I don't know how much you're going to care about this specifically. We got confirmation of what the episode after Kratos Asura is going to be because they revealed it at MagFest.
Okay.
And we're getting Ghost Rider versus Spawn. And that's one that I actually have a decent amount of merit in because I have researched it. But like something I noticed, because I don't know if you remember, I want to say I don't think it was a year ago yet, but I'll say around 7-8 months. I sent an image into our Discord server that was my top 100 matchups I wanted on Death Battle. Mm-hmm. Outside of one episode this season, which was Among Us versus Fall Guys, every single episode that's come out has been on that list.
How high up is Ghost Rider and...
Ghost Rider versus Spawn, I think it's in the 20s. Well, I'm looking at it because we had Bowser Eggman, that was lower on my list, just because I wasn't looking at it from the idea of an army fight. I was looking at an idea of a one-on-one, and I wasn't that interested. Kratos Asura is around the 30s, I think. But then you get to Joker Giorno is around a 40. The only one I haven't talked about is Bardock Omni-Man, which was my number 3. And look how that turned out. I will never forget, I don't think, as long as I'm like a Death Battle fan, the mass confusion in that room when Omni-Man won. It was like this huge thing where fucking Omni-Man's choking out Bardock in front of a star. And then Bardock goes Super Saiyan, starts beating the shit out of him for 2 seconds. And then his arm explodes in a punch clash. And then he floats into a star and dies.
That's right.
And
really
I
fucking weird.
remember that.
And, like, that caused some confusion, but also every single one was like, how the fuck did Omni-Man win? Me, you, Jess, Zach, Tori. We were all confused as shit. And I remember I had a little bit of a crash out over it. And it's one of those things
Just
where
imagining that.
I will never condone the way some people reacted to that episode. But I understand I understand some level of anger towards
When
it.
you have to acknowledge like the inappropriate actions of other people, like despite understanding their view, you know, it got real. Like
People were threatening their lives. People
Well,
were.
that's happening since the
I'm
beginning,
coming for you, Ben.
Right, but like it was insane the amount of people threatening their lives.
Let's say high five, guys. We got 10th, 11th, 12th.
Thank you, Nick, for rubbing my hand.
Well, you know,
I
dox me.
It was to the point where they literally had to go on their live show and say, "Hey, you can disagree with us. Stop being dicks about it."
And they're like,
Thankfully, it got blown over pretty quick because everyone moved on to talking about Joker Giorno.
had a little power nap, and then they're back to normal.
But it's not like everyone loved Joker Giorno, which this is something that I want to bring up. It's sadly a kind of again slightly more negative, but it is something that I do want to bring up. I'm going to bring it up again when we watch Kratos Asura.
Okay.
The waiting period for Bardock Omni-Man was amazing. That it was so good. I fucking love, mainly because no one really cared about the winner at that time. Everyone was so excited that Death Battle was back. Joker versus Giorno, the wait period for that, it wasn't as interesting as some other ones. Mainly because every single one was like, yeah, Joker's gonna fucking win.
Do you mean like the anticipation of like,
Yeah,
oh,
like-
we're excited for this?
Yeah,
and
everyone
what's the talking about?
Yeah,
it?
everyone talking about the episode and everything. Bowser versus Eggman was the most fun I have ever had in a waiting period because it was friendly debates and then it turned into more in-depth but still very friendly debates, and then it elevated from there to people pretending that they were either in the Eggman or Robotnik empires and posting propaganda.
Oh, that's really fun.
And it was so much fun. Among Us versus Fall Guys, no one gave a shit.
Well, yeah.
Among Us versus Fall Guys, everyone was just still talking about how cool Bowser versus Eggman was. That's all it was. Kratos versus Asura has been one of the least fun waiting periods ever. And I hate it. Because this entire time has just been people... It's been people saying that if Kratos wins, Death Battle doesn't deserve their jobs. It's been people complaining about the fact that Kratos has lore scaling. And it's been people throwing tantrums about those people throwing tantrums. That's all this waiting period has been.
It's a recurring theme.
A little bit. And I hate it because, like, this season has been just the season of amazing waiting periods, amazing debates, amazing discussion around what these episodes can become. And I haven't been getting that with this. All I've been getting is fucking salt from Asura's Wrath people. And then people upset.
They want to just defend their like one little thing.
Which, like, I totally...
All right, release another game then.
I totally understand to an extent wanting to see your guy win, especially in a scenario like this where Asura's been out of the limelight forever. He never really had his place in the limelight because the game just didn't sell well despite how cool it was. But the fact that I can point to multiple posts and say these people are calling for Death Battle's jobs if Kratos wins is insane. I love Death Battle and I want to see it prosper, but it infuriates me sometimes with stuff like that. And it's not their fault. Their fans are tainting it.
Is it the vocal minority?
It is definitely the vocal minority. For one, I think most opinions online tend to be a vocal minority.
Yeah. Most people don't feel like putting out the strong opinions on for everybody else to see and back them out.
Right. But a lot of these people are talking about it like it's some one-sided beatdown that should never been made into a fight. But I'm looking at it and it's like, this episode was second place twice in their polls. Like when they did the Champions poll and they did the 3D episode, it barely lost to Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer because that had more standing in the Death Battle community itself. Then we get to the Tournament of Champions, and I will say, its first round, it barely scraped by with a win in the first round. It almost lost to Homer Simpson versus Peter Griffin. But it then made it all the way to the finals, where it only lost to Wiley versus Tom, which is amazing. It's a matchup I'm so excited for.
Oh yeah, that's still waiting to happen, right?
Yeah, we got confirmed that it's happening sooner rather than later. But at the time when they began production for this season, when Rooster Teeth was still a thing, it was planned to be closer to the end of the season, so a lot of production hadn't started for it yet.
Okay.
But, like, clearly there's a deep love for this matchup. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made it that far either time. Mm-hmm. So there is no way in my mind that all these people who are bitching about it are actively the majority. There is something that I saw that does have me a tiny bit worried. Devil Artemis, the guy animating the fight, super talented guy. I fucking love it. Actually, there's an animation of his I want to show you later. Just so you can see like the level of animation we're going to be working with here.
Already saw a little bit in the teaser.
Right, but like what he what it is in his free time.
Yeah, even with like those being like official assets and stuff, I'm like, god damn.
But like he has his own channel that he does stuff on, which his stuff is way more goofy usually, but he does like some cool fight stuff. But he was talking about it, and he let a couple things go about like the episode. One of which is that he animated 9 minutes, but it's up to Death Battle on how much it's gonna stay. But also, the thing that has me worried is that he said that he had to fight with Death Battle because they were writing lines for Asura that mischaracterized him. And he said that in the trailer that we saw, they actually put back one of the lines that he fought for them to take out.
Oh no.
Which one was it?
I don't remember. I'd have to relook. But
could you identify it like just based on watching it alone?
Probably, yeah. I'd have to watch and remember, but I probably could.
What does he mean by mischaracterizing him?
Like something that he
doesn't
wouldn't
fit
do?
with.
It was labeling him as a one-dimensional rage monster when that's not what he is.
Okay.
Asura is definitely not the deepest character around. I will never say that. He's kind of on that same level of what Kratos in the original trilogy was, of how the anger was like his main character trait.
Yeah.
But there was more to him.
Well, that's like that's the face value. That you know what that is? That's like the subtitle for like Sonic's whole thing is like he's snarky and he's fast, but that's really not the case.
Yeah, there's way more to it. But like if you want to get like the super quick, this is what he's about, then yeah, you can say that.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about that, but I have faith in them to not fuck this up. I will say though, Devil Artemis has burned me once this season because he was in charge of Bardock Omni-Man. But
Well, it wasn't.
He was just doing his job.
with that, well, I mean, with the animation quality, I thought it wasn't his best. However, I don't think Bardock Omni-Man was originally planned for the season, so I think that was something they threw in, and he had to get done within a few months. As well as Bardock Omni-Man was made a lot, I think a decent amount during the uncertainty of whether or not Death Battle was going to come back, and I think that hurt the episode in a lot of ways. And I think part of that
They had their own
was
like
the
SAG
animation
after release, basically.
And I think that it hurt it a lot. One thing I am very excited for, I will say, is not with Kratos Asura. Something that we're coming up on with showing you guys all the Death Battle thing is we are coming up on a couple of my favorite episodes
Of all time?
Yes, but also we're coming up on one of my least favorite episodes
the one I love.
in general, but also one of my favorite episodes to talk about.
Okay.
And that is Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie.
Is that one that already happened? Oh no, you're saying that's coming up on your series.
Yeah, that is the season finale of season 3.
Pinkie Pie is a MLP
Yep,
character, right?
she is one of the main characters of My Little Pony.
Okay.
It's just because they break the fourth wall.
Yep, but except Pinkie barely does that. She's done it like twice. It was a joke episode that they were not planning to be the season finale. What was supposed to be the season finale was Power Rangers versus Voltron. They were going to do the Megazord versus Voltron.
Okay.
This is something they've talked about kind of extensively recently. When they were getting ready for that, there were no 3D models there were no modern 3D models for the Power Rangers, for Megazord, for Voltron, or for the pilots. So they had to commission them. And when they got them back, they were the worst models they have ever seen.
Who they commissioned from? Like a person they usually do, or just
No,
random?
just someone who was like, hey, I could make these for you.
Yeah.
And they were off. Well, actually, that was the second commission they did. The first one they did, they paid
I'm sorry.
Me and Nick were fighting for first place, and Nick threw a green shell up at me, and I threw one back, and I hit him. He didn't hit me. I definitely screen peeked for that.
the first ones that they commissioned never showed up. They're still waiting on them.
Oh.
Years later, they never got them. And then the second one, they were awful. So they're like, fuck, we don't have a season finale. So they're like, all right, fine, well, I guess this is going to be the short season. Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie is the finale, I guess. and it is widely considered to be awful. And if it wasn't a season finale, it would be fine. But because it's a season finale, it is terrible.
That makes it drop because the quality expectation is much higher for that.
Right, a season finale is supposed to be big, and that was not it. There's a couple episodes that, like, the quality of the overall episode is fine for a season finale, but the matchup isn't there. It's like, why the hell did you make this season finale? The two I like to point to the most, because like you look through the seasons, Goku vs Superman, that is the matchup. Obviously, that's gonna be.
It's the flagship one.
Season 2, you got Red and Charizard from Pokemon versus Tai and Agumon from Digimon. Pokemon versus Digimon's a huge deal. So that one makes sense. Season 3, you got Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie. We already talked about that. Season 4, you got Sephiroth versus Virgil. Not as big, but still a pretty big matchup. Season 5, Thanos versus Darkseid. That is like one of the biggest matchups you can do. Season 6, you get All Might from My Hero Academia versus Might Guy from Naruto. The episode is amazing, but that's not an episode I would ever point. It's not a matchup I would ever point to and say that could be a season finale. That is something I would say for like a mid-season or a season the beginning of a season. Then we get season 7, Hulk versus Broly. That makes sense. Season 8, Saitama versus Popeye. A little weird, but it still made sense for what they were going for. And then we get to season 9, and we get Gogeta versus Vegito.
Which is also very strange.
Which I have my own harsh opinions on same series matchups. I'm not the fan. I'm not the biggest fan of them, unless under very specific circumstances, and that was not one of them. Episode quality, amazing. I love the episode, and I mean I'm a shill for a couple things, and Dragon Ball is one of them. So obviously I love the episode. But why the fuck was that a season finale? Then we get season 10, and it's like, you know what? Galactus versus Unicron, the most requested episode in Death Battle history. That's what we're going to do. And I looked at it and just like, all right, this is fucking peak. I wonder, we're not doing finales anymore, but if you want to be technical about it, last year wasn't really its own season, but if you want to count it as one, its finale was Among Us Fall Guys. Technically, no. They're not really doing season finales and stuff anymore, like I said.
Also, what a way to end the year.
Right? They had to. I still think that we should have done Bardock, Omni-Man, Joker, Giorno, Among Us, Fall Guys, then Bowser, Eggman. Especially because we could have given Moro more time to animate. It's because he talked about and like showed some like still stuff and like animatics from the episode that he had animated but weren't able to be really put into the episode.
Which one?
Bowser, Eggman. Okay. Because he just didn't have the time to put everything together.
Yeah.
And if he had all that time, we would have gotten to see so much more. But episodes still peak.
Yeah, for sure. How long was the fight on its own?
The fight was like 4.5 minutes. Okay. Which, by the way, I'm gonna get a little closer to the mic for this. Fuck you, Death Battle. I love you so much. The fact that in the last couple seasons, you have made me question if Sauron versus the Lich King is still my favorite episode so many times. I want to stay loyal to that episode, man. I want to stay loyal. It's so fucking good. But you keep making me question my fucking faith in it.
I'll make sure to mention Death Battle in the title and or description.
They're gonna they're gonna see it tagged and they're like, what the fuck is that?
Oh no, Skill calls out Death Battle.
Kaipar blasts Death Battle.
I don't know, like I love that we're getting this high quality episodes, but every single time I'm like, Bowser versus fucking Eggman, man, that might be my new favorite episode. But they're constantly producing episodes that I'm looking at. Like Goku versus Superman 3 and Galactus versus Unicron. Oh my fucking god. The quality on those was above anything I'd ever fucking seen. To the point where when Galactus Unicron got announced, and they'll show clips of the two characters, like, yeah, these are who we're doing. People were wondering, like, hey, where did that Galactus clip come from? They're like, oh yeah, that's our animation.
Ooh.
People thought that it was just like from a movie.
Yeah.
But it was their animation. It was clean. Man, I've been rambling for a minute. That's
you got a few more minutes to do it.
How much longer we got?
I mean, we got until we finish off 32 races.
How many races are we on?
We're at 11 out of 32.
Let's fucking go. All right, I'm gonna open this up, Dad. If you have anything else you want to bring up.
I had a question just because you mentioned that, like, about them showing that clip of their animation on the Next Time on Death Battle thing for that. How often are they already have a good amount of animation done like that when they do the Next Time announcement?
Always.
They've always been working on it for a while.
There is a couple examples in the earlier parts of Death Battle's history. Okay, so with season 1 of Death Battle, that was like its whole thing, its own beast. Up until the last episode that Ben animated himself was Dr. Eggman versus Dr. Wily, which that episode was kind of a cry for help to Screw Attack to pay for a fucking animator. That's his way of putting it, is that they refused to greenlight the pay for an animator for his show because he was doing it. But it's like what he had to do was an episode would come out, and then he had 2 weeks to research, write, animate, and edit an episode.
2 weeks?
He had 2 weeks, because the episode had to come out in the next 2 weeks.
That is rough.
2 weeks sometimes isn't enough time to, like, fucking edit. Like,
no, and there was so much information that got left out of so many episodes, because he didn't have the time to go through it all. So that was the thing there. And then you get into season 2, and for the most part, things are fine, except there were 2 examples with Mega Man versus Astro Boy, which that one had the issue of the animator was going through a lot of personal problems during the time, and it ended up getting to really start until the episode got announced, and the episode, a lot of people say it suffered. I personally don't see it. I love the episode, but I see some of the issues. And then there's Beast from X-Men versus Goliath from Gargoyles. The animator didn't even have the sprite sheets when the episode got announced. That episode is one of the worst in the series history, sadly. It also started the whole Golden Tree Feet thing, which I fucking hate.
Golden Tree, what is that?
So it's become a thing called the Golden Tree Feet, which is basically became a thing because in Beast versus Goliath, during Beast analysis, they bring up a feat and like how great it is of Beast lifting up a solid gold tree. And then they get to the explanation of why Goliath won, and they're like, well, actually, you can see he didn't lift the entire tree. And it became a thing called the
He only lifted the base of the tree.
You can see some of it still touching the ground, so it's like, did he really lift the whole thing? But it became known as the Golden Tree Feat, where they would bring something up and then talk about it like it really doesn't mean all that much later.
So it's like trying to trick the audience while they're watching the video for no reason.
You lifted a car, but you didn't pick it up off the ground.
Yeah, it's very stupid, and for the most part, they've gotten a lot better with it. But then season 7, an episode that I know I showed both you, I think, Winter Soldier versus Red Hood, which is so good. It's one of their live action episodes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
They're in the analysis. They're like, oh my god, Red Hood was able to break free from Supergirl's grip and like get away from her. And then they're like, actually, he really just caught her off guard. She just wasn't expecting him to pull away.
Sure.
Like, there's no way he's actually able to match Kryptonian. I'm like, fuck you.
That's just like downplaying the most remarkable. To me, that kind of goes back to the Knuckles punching Sonic's Chaos Emeralds out of him thing. Like, yeah, they downplay it because it's weird that it happened. But that still means something. It
definitely does not mean that Jason Todd is as strong as Supergirl. I would never imply that.
Well, certainly not. But
it implies some level of strength.
Again, he was also trained by Batman. Like, he's at least in the upper limit, definitely more than Winter Soldier, of fucking like what human reaction time and strength is capable of.
I would say especially, I would say they're kind of even on strength stuff until Jason uses the Venom, but that was something that pissed me off with that episode, was their downplay of Venom. They treated the Venom, because, do you know what Venom is, Luke, that I'm talking about?
It's Bane's.
Yeah, Bane's super serum is that Jason Todd keeps some on him.
Gotcha.
He doesn't like to use it, but it's like a last resort type thing. Yeah. They treat it like it's a fucking 30-second boost.
Why?
I don't know, but like they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, he can match Winter Soldier's strength, but only temporarily. This is something that Bane is continually pumping into his veins, so it stays forever. But that doesn't mean that it's something that lasts like 30 seconds.
Well, yeah, it literally like amplifies his strength on all levels. That doesn't mean he's not. It's not like adrenaline.
they'll do some stuff like that every once in a while that I'm like, was that really? I didn't like that. I mean, obviously, the show's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. One episode is perfect.
Which one?
Sauron versus Lich King. I have no notes on that episode. I have quite literally 0 notes on that episode.
Absolute cinema.
To the point where I'm tempted to have us do a recording of that at some point before we get to it in the season listing.
Just like an appreciation.
Just because I want you guys to see the absolute fucking peak that is Sauron versus the Lich King.
And what season is that?
9.
Okay, that's gonna be a while then.
Yeah. That's why I said I'm tempted to just do it on its own at some point. Just because it's such a good fucking episode. That is coming from someone who is a massive Lord of the Rings fan.
As good as the Rebecca Black versus Justin Bieber episode.
Oh my god.
Maybe even a little bit better.
The fact that I had to rewatch that episode to write my season ranking, and then I had to rewatch it again to get footage. The pain. It was the most painful thing.
The pain. It's a permanent stain.
It's actually unlisted. You can watch it if you go to the official Death Battle playlist of all our episodes.
But if you just search for it, you're not gonna find it.
Yeah, you're not gonna find it. There's a few episodes that I'm actually very excited to watch with you guys specifically, because I like when we did the watch party before Bardock Omni-Man, there were some episodes I picked specifically because Zach was there.
Mm-hmm. You have ones that specifically also like?
Okay,
Yes.
well, like, credit where credit is due. The fucking Courage the Cowardly Dog versus Scooby-Doo episode.
Peak.
Yeah, that blew me away.
Like Batman versus Iron Man, I'm really excited to watch. We already watched it once, but to get to watch it again, Silver versus Trunks. I'm very excited to. What was there was an episode that was coming up soon that I really wanted to show Nick.
I'm starting to get like trauma from just the Sega character episodes because like it feels like they're just like dangling it in front of me and then they just hurt me. Like just they know I like Sega, but they also know there's a way that it could work. that they could make it work. They just don't.
I will say not all of Sega's losses are. I will say a lot of I will say from my whole fucking chest.
There's some bullshit.
I will say this with my entire chest right now. Knuckles deserved to lose. Eggman deserved to lose. Archie Sonic deserved to lose. However, Tails should not have beaten Luigi.
Should not have?
Should not have. But Sonic should have beat Mario the second time.
It seems like they just hate Sega. Like that's
See, I don't think so, because it's getting harder to defend thinking about some of their episodes. However, Sonic does have multiple wins. I told I mentioned this to
well, yes, against Mario.
Well, I brought this up to Luke after you left the room. I'm not telling you which ones. Sonic has 2 more wins coming. Not Sonic himself, but like Sonic the series has 2 more wins coming.
Oh, okay.
And hey, if Goku versus Sonic ever happens, he might get another one.
Goku versus... That's not fair. Like, no.
What are your opinions on if that happens?
I'm so excited for that, if that ever happens. And whether or not you think the debate is close, which I actually do think is kind of close, there is so much between the two of them that would work for fight chemistry.
I mean, yes, but also, like, they're in different ranks. Goku is a fucking god capable of instant transmission. The one's just like a hedgehog on crack. He eats rare gems and then goes crazy for a second.
And then Luke, there's not as many that I'm specifically excited for you to watch, just because there's a less series that you're like really into.
Yeah, I'm just a less happy human.
You're the shadow to my Sonic.
But like I'm really excited when we get to Chosen Undead versus Dragonborn, which I know you've already seen, but get to watch that again. I feel like there's more that I'm just like not thinking of at the moment that like you're gonna like really like. That looking at it, be like, oh yeah, he'll probably be into this. Is this an opportunity where I can plug something of my own?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Raycons.
Raycon.
On the video that you're gonna post later, that we recorded here, I plugged this channel and Lightning Round Battlegrounds.
I plugged later on
That's true.
Battlegrounds.
Use code all heart no skill.
Raycon Shadow Legends.
Raycon Shadow Legends.
Have you ever heard of HelloFresh?
So some people who have watched my channel for a while,
Honey.
may remember the idea
Yes.
being thrown around of a show called Ring of Fiction, which was my own attempt at a death battle show. That's not happening in the way that I promised it when I was fucking 17. I don't have the money to pay someone to animate, and I don't have the patience to learn animation. I tried, and I broke 2 keyboards.
What do you mean? It's happening. Just keep making false promises. Like,
So the promise I'm
like
about...
me with my series.
Just keep going.
It's happening. Oh, it's happening.
The promise that I'm about to make is not a false promise because it's already being produced.
Goodness.
Ring of Fiction's coming back. However, there's going to be no animation to it. This is just going to be my fucking versus battle rant series.
All right.
Where I just get to talk about matchups and how I think they would go. The fucking feats and shit. And I don't care if nobody watches it. This is just my fucking vent for And there are 4 episodes that are in the works. And then after these 4 episodes come out, I'm going to be working on one at a time. These are just 4 that I've been continuously working on over the years. So we are going to be getting Tarzan versus Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
We're going to be doing Nicobolas from Magic the Gathering versus Vecna from Dungeons and Dragons. That one's going to be done in the style of, talked about in the style of an army battle, which is taking a lot because Nicobolas has access to all of Magic the Gathering.
Wait, so is Vecna a dragon?
No, but Vecna is another godly being.
Okay.
So Tarzan versus Conan the Barbarian is the closest to being completed. Nicobolas versus Vecna is a little further out. And then the other 2 are another one that I'm looking at through the lens of an army fight, which is Andrew Ryan from BioShock versus not Dr. House, Mr. House from Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
From before he was a doctor.
And the one that I am
Mr. Apartment.
I am both the most excited for, but also extremely cautious about, is Devil Artemis Cell versus SMG4, which, if you don't know what those are, that's something that you'll have to look up on your own.
SMG, is that Super Mario Logan?
No, somewhat tangential.
You showed me SMG4, right?
I showed you one of their older, it was a remake of one of their
Yeah.
older videos. They've gotten a lot better and less cringe about stuff. SMG4 was an animated series that they used Gmod for in the beginning. I think they still use it to an extent, of just really stupid and goofy Mario skits.
Okay.
And then SMG4 ended up becoming their own character, which is just Mario but with a blue outfit. And they're slightly more serious than Mario, only slightly.
Silly stuff like violating the Geneva Convention?
Yeah, sometimes. But the funny thing about that is that this episode is going to end up being a 2-part thing because I can do that, and then it's going to evolve into SMG4 Mario specifically versus Devil Artemis Kermit.
What is Devil Artemis?
He's the guy animating Kratos versus Asura.
That's right.
So his series that he does is a show called Cellverses, which is just again, it's kind of a goofy parody versus show. There's no information or anything. It's just Cell in the Cell Games arena, and he hangs out with Kermit, and Kermit sets up fights for him to do for YouTube.
This dude is animating
Kratos versus Asura.
Kratos versus Asura.
Yes.
One of the most talked about. Oh my god.
And he is amazing. I love Devil Artemis. He treats Cell well and but also kind of like a goofy, abridged way, like Dragon Ball Z Abridged does a little bit. Kermit ends up getting his own feats eventually. He has a full fucking lightsaber duel with another Kermit.
Oh, okay.
Dark Kermit.
I think it was just Kermit.
Who are you, fake frog?
It might have. It's been a minute since I've watched that one. It might have specifically been Constantine from the Muppets Most Wanted movie, which is just another frog who's a master criminal and has a mole to show that he's evil.
Okay.
He trades places with Kermit and frames Kermit for shit. Anyway, so yeah, those episodes are in the works right now. Tarzan versus Conan the Barbarian is the one that's going to be out the soonest. Because I have all the research done already. I just have to write and edit that. But I'm finally giving myself an outlet to just talk about matchups I want to.
Question: are you gonna be doing that on your own channel, or are you gonna make a new channel?
My channel.
Okay.
I've never liked the idea of separated channel for things like Linear Battleground. That is specifically something different. Mm-hmm. But splitting my content across channels, the only way I would do that is if I think that this series blows up in a way that would make it, like, I don't want to like, for people who, like, are really into the versus battle stuff, I don't want to bog them down with my other stupid stuff. So if it ever becomes its own really big thing, it's going to go onto its own channel. But for right now, it's just staying on mine.
Okay.
I'm also going to be avoiding episodes that Death Battle has already done, unless I think I can add something to the conversation, or I think they got it wrong. Bill Cypher versus Discord. Bill Cypher versus Discord is also in the works, but that one's much farther out. That one's also one that I'm just like, I don't think they're exactly, like, wrong on. I just don't like their explanation, and I think that it could have gone the other way had they put a little more thought into it. That's a weird way of putting that. I shouldn't have said it like that.
Is it close?
It's so fucking close, but I hate their explanation for it.
What was their explanation for it?
So a lot of it makes sense. With Bill Cypher versus, because, like, you know, Discord, they're both kind of carefree, but Discord is consistently way more carefree in his approach and way less likely to take things seriously. But they go over, like, certain counters that Discord has, like, oh yeah, this probably wouldn't work, even though I don't think it's true. My two big problems were, one of Discord's items is something called Grogar's Wishing Bell, which Grogar's Wishing Bell can steal magic and then give it to themselves, and then give it to someone else. And they said that Bill would be able to resist it because in Gravity Falls, the Mystery Shack, the thing that, you know, a lot of the show takes place in, they make like a giant mech out of it to try and fight Bill. Mm-hmm. And it has a barrier made of unicorn hair, which is something that specifically is meant to counter Bill's type of magic. Okay. And it doesn't, like, counter it per se, but it, like, repels it and begins to, like, what's the right word?
Well, the thing was, like, they used that so that he couldn't penetrate their minds, right?
Well, so he couldn't even reach into the shack.
Oh, okay.
He couldn't even, like, punch past the barrier. And the barrier will, like, not deplete, not, like, drain.
Absorb?
Not quite absorb. It, like, makes it go dormant, almost. And, like, makes it null.
Like, pacifies it?
Yeah. But when in his fight with the Shack, they call it the Shacktron, he had pretty extensive contact with it.
I think that's a robotic basketball player.
He had extensive contact with the fucking hell.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Metal Shack.
I was trying to not laugh at it, and then you just it's like fuck. He had extensive contact with it, and he wasn't drained of his magic wasn't turned off. However, there's two differences here. One, Grogar's Wishing Bell does not make it go dormant or anything like that. It drains it, which is something different. But also, we see when Bill first turns everything weird and, like, Weirdmageddon starts.
Is Weirdmageddon a thing?
That's, like, what he calls his,
that's
like
big. That's like the finale.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
He like a lot of items come to life. And including a totem that's outside the shack. It tries to get in, and it takes like 5 hits of it hitting the barrier before its magic is shut down. So clearly it doesn't do it instantly. And that was a small amount of magic that took 5 hits before it drained. Bill Cypher is a multi-dimensional being. No shit it didn't drain all his magic in the 3 minutes he was fighting. Like, that's, like, a huge thing, is you gotta take a look at, like, how much it's actually doing. It's not doing that much. It keeps him at bay. But then the other thing is them just completely dismissing Discord's ability to just completely come back to life. As long as there is discord and chaos in the world, he will come back to life. He cannot die.
They just said, well, he died once, so let's call it good.
Their whole thing was, we don't know how long it takes for him to come back.
Do we?
Not exactly. But we do know it's not that fucking long. The best comparison is in the comics. There is another Draconicus, who I believe her name was Malice. She is like Discord's opposite. Like pretty much all the same powers, but like instead of doing chaos for the fun of it, doing chaos because she wants to hurt people. And Discord defeats her, and then she just kind of comes back like a day later. I don't even think it was that long.
So assuming that Discord will be on par with that.
Yeah, because they're literally the same, except their mentality is different.
So the only way Bill Cypher would be able to like completely win would either be to negate that ability somehow, which don't know if there is a way to do that, or maybe like bring peace to the world in some way.
which is not. But
Reverse calamity.
Bill Cypher's
He'd lose. principle.
being is chaos.
So that would take him out too, yeah.
It wouldn't
Like-
kill him, but it would like.
It's kind of like Bill's very presence will
It invites
allows
chaos.
allows Discord to just constantly keep coming back.
Exactly. And not to mention, being around chaos makes Discord more powerful.
So, and they just didn't bring this into account at all.
They talked about it, but I think they were worried about entering a no limits fallacy, which I understand. Those are very irritating.
Meaning like nobody could win.
A no limits fallacy is basically because we don't know the upper limits of something, we can just say they can grow infinitely.
And then, like, what does the fight matter?
Yeah, so that's kind of the problem with this is as the chaos grows, he'll just keep getting more powerful. Well, we don't know what the limit, so he'll just keep going till it's infinite. And, that's the kind of the thing we like to avoid. I think they were just afraid of doing a no limits fallacy. Still, though, Discord versus Bill Cypher, fucking peak. Even with that.
You know what would be kind of fun? Well, I don't know if it actually would be, but I just had a thought with you talking about the no limits fallacy thing. Have a game where you put characters in there, whether they're original characters or characters that would exist, that have that where they theoretically, in the right circumstances, could grow infinite power over time.
Yeah.
And then see, like, have two of them match up and see who would win just based on the player's skill, how long they can increase their power to overcome the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it could go forever, but then you keep building shit up and up and up. It's kind of like a Gario. Like, you can keep going forever, but eventually you're going to lose.
And that's kind of the thing with when you do a matchup in a similar vein with not exactly, but with Scooby-Doo versus Courage. When you get to that level of toon bullshit, it becomes a thing of, all right, we don't care about the power anymore. This is just down to abilities. Because, like, you look at Scooby versus Courage, it wasn't said verbally, but they mentioned it in a black box in, like, one of the corners, that Courage scales to Scooby. So even though Scooby had better shown feats, we can, like, reliably scale Courage to all the same shit.
Why scale to him?
Just all the different crossover stuff they have where they've been on the same level.
Haven't they? Isn't there an official crossover too?
Yeah, well, there's multiple, like, video game stuff, the Cartoon Network website video games that kind of sucked ass, but they were there that they crossed over with a couple times. But then there's the official Straight Outta Nowhere crossover movie, which, by the way, fucking amazing. They're basically on the same level.
Is it just directly Scooby-Doo and Coach together?
Yep. Well, it's like the mystery gang.
Yeah.
And Scooby, Muriel, and Eustace. Which
Scooby, you mean Coach, Muriel, and you?
yeah. Which I may be wrong on this. I think that was Muriel's voice actor's last performance before she passed.
Oh.
Oh.
Which, funny story about that. Not her passing. About Scooby versus Courage.
I fucking killed.
The day before Gojo versus Makima came out, I randomly watched Straight Outta Nowhere. And it's like, oh, this is really good. And then I watched Gojo versus Makima and saw Scooby versus Courage was the next episode. It fucking threw me for a loop. It's like, what are the fucking chances that I would do that? The last season was the first season where I ever actually pre-called an episode based on the clues they gave. Technically, I did it this season too, but that one was way more obvious. Because I called Joker versus Giorno this year. Because I don't know if you remember, because Nick wasn't there for this one. When I had you guys, I think it was you, Chris, and my friend Matt over, and we watched all of season 10 to watch Galactus vs. Unicron. Mm-hmm. When after Galactus vs. Unicron, they did the little teaser for the next season, they had a bunch of playing cards come out, and the very first card was a Joker. And I'm like,
That's right.
This has to be Joker Giorno. Like, there's no way it's not. Like, that one was much more obvious. But then for this season, they did the Cypher wheel. The last season, they did the Cypher wheel, which they said they're never doing again. They had, like, the Gravity Falls-esque wheel of symbols, and each symbol was tethered to an episode. I was struggling to try and figure out what some of these fucking things were.
They were very vague.
They were so vague. Like, there were some that I was able to pin, because, like, we already knew about episodes that were happening. Like, I was able to, like, all right, so, like, the question mark is obviously Bill Cypher versus Discord. The scale is probably Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer, because both their games are heavily based on moral choices. But then I'm like, the recycle symbol, that's Master Chief versus Doom Guy. We're finally getting that again.
Oh.
And that ended up being Goku versus Superman. But the one that I got right, and I'm still very proud of this, was the half moon. It was like a moon, like half the moon, the other half was dark. And I called that was Darth Vader versus Obito. And I remember multiple people like, there's no fucking way they're doing that. And then it got announced. And I'm like, see, I fucking told you. And everyone's like, yeah, but it's not the moon. And then it got revealed to be the fucking moon. It was the good and the evil. Because, Vader was Anakin. He did a lot. And then he ended up going to the dark side. And Obito did he ever make it past Genin?
He, thinks he's right.
Right.
He? Okay.
Obito was a Genin, I believe, and before he passed away.
Everybody thinks they're right.
And he gave his Uchiha eye, which makes no sense to you guys, I'm sure, to Kakashi. That means he literally ripped his eye out of his skull and gave it to him. But then he came back later as a part of a pawn of the bigger bad guy's plan. So he ended up being kind of evil for that. So that was where that played. Very good episode, by the way. But then I tried to get some other episodes, and I'm like, oh, there was like a beaker, and I'm like, oh, that's probably
Rick Sanchez versus fucking whatever.
I think I called that it was going to be Mr. Fantastic versus somebody, and then it ended up being Ant-Man versus the Atom, and then there was like the Yin and Yang, and I'm like, oh, we're getting it's like another Kung Fu Panda episode. My guess was we might be getting Oogway versus Uncle Iroh. And it ended up being fucking Raven from DC versus Phoenix from Marvel.
Raven is based in, pagan black magic, right?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I don't fully understand the yin and yang there, if I'm being completely honest. And
wouldn't a bird...
that might have been a little too obvious. The other one that, everyone else gets right, but I was convinced wouldn't be it, there was another sciencey one. I don't remember which one it was. But everyone was like, it's Rick versus the Doctor. I'm like, there's no fucking way they're going to do a Rick Sanchez episode with everything going on with Justin Roiland right now. And then fucking, lo and behold, right after Scooby-Doo versus Courage, fucking Rick Sanchez versus the Doctor gets announced.
And you know what? We needed that.
And I'm like, fuck, all right, guess I got to learn about Doctor Who now.
It's kind of hilarious because, not to say that Rick doesn't have feats, but the show... outside of, the games and stuff, intentionally fucks with people by, making it obscure what he can and can't do.
Right, yeah. It got to the point with that episode. I'm not gonna say the end of that one. But when they got to the end, there's it's they don't really have, they have some higher level feats, but they're very inconsistent with their normal stuff. They're both quick thinkers who can do nothing, who can only do, kind of a little above average of what the normal human can do in terms of strength and stuff.
It's about their tech.
That's the main thing.
They have an iconic trusty gadget is the thing.
Yeah, the portal gun and the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
Sonic? The Heghog.
Whoa. What do you mean?
I'm really hoping we get another Sonic episode soon.
That drives me. I'm sorry, not to go be a quill head on you.
I know they're not on roller skates anymore.
What?
Sonic.
Did they stop
drive
doing
food?
that?
Yeah, I don't think they do that anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, that they would come out and deliver you food on roller skates.
Their gimmick?
That was.
So that's the weirdest. Okay, so here's the thing. I can't prove it, but I feel so strongly that the restaurant is connected to the franchise. I know it's not. I know it predates it by a lot. Okay, so their staple food is chili dogs. They sell onion rings as the side.
This is the most fucking.
They used to be on roller skates.
Yeah, honestly, I'm seeing it.
Yeah,
you're convincing me.
Also, and granted, those are all just Americana tropes. But here's the other thing. I almost wouldn't believe it if it weren't for the goddamn logo. They look so identical. You know how long I've been staring at the Sonic logo? All day, at least. But no other... I've never seen another font do this besides, Sonic's franchise. They slightly twist the O, because the middle part of it is an oval shape, so it doesn't perfectly fit the circular shape. They slightly rotate that. The only other logo that I've ever seen do that is the restaurant. I know it's not supposed to, but how can all of these things... I've literally been to the restaurant before. I'm like, hey, are you are you connected? And they're like, no. Who is that? Obviously, they have different histories altogether, and they come from like different places in the world. Cause like, was the restaurant always like that? Do they always do like that specifically? I know they're like out of Chicago or whatever, but like it feels so much like they tried to make like a branding deal and it never happened. So they're just trying to like mooch off of the success of the franchise. But also like Sonic is niche enough that I feel like that wouldn't be a good marketing strategy. So it's got to be for like pure love of the character if if that is the case. Like they don't have their own mascot, do they?
I don't believe so. No.
Not that I can think of.
Maybe it was gonna be.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because roller skates was like their gimmick. That was their thing.
Yeah, but that's about being like speedy, like, and also like fucking Shadow with the air hockey shoes.
Yeah.
Like he just if he stands there while they're turned on, does he just like
Floats.
Yeah, is there like a pneumatic pressure sound in the background like? Like it's just too fucking real.
Sorry, I threw a banana ahead and it bounced off another banana and bounced back at me. Never seen that before.
I was in first place for a minute. Fuck you guys.
Guess who is in first place?
Dude, I zoned out again and now I'm in third.
Well, like,
every time I quit paying attention. Like, this only happened because I started talking about Sonic.
the only matchups I can think of for the Sonic franchise that are both good and they're close enough, like they're even enough that it's like either the Sonic character might lose or they will win. Mario versus Sonic 3, Archie Knuckles versus Juggernaut, and I'm out. I'm sure there's more that I'm just not thinking of right now. Blaze versus Starfire is pretty good. And Goku versus Sonic. Goku versus Sonic, I will stand on that one.
What does Blaze do?
Fire.
Yeah, pretty much. But
I guess that lines up.
she's an alien princess. And
Oh, that one's with
so is Starfire.
She's technically a cat.
You're a cat. I mean, Sonic's technically a fucking alien.
I mean, yeah, he is. I always like how none of the media really gets that right. Because, yes, he is an alien, but only because he was on Earth for a brief time. Like, the rest of the time, he's on Mobius.
Yeah.
He's not an alien if he's at his home. And also, the thing that I notice that people do a lot is they think that makes him, like, not a hedgehog. They do that in the movies. They play up this trope where, like, he thinks he's a hedgehog, even though he's clearly this, like, creature. He's still a hedgehog. Like, he just looks different because he's from a different planet.
Yeah.
Like, he's,
Alien version of
he's
Heghog.
their hedgehog.
I'm trying to think of other fucking Sonic matchups that are interesting. Like, Metal Sonic's got some, but they're either not all that interesting or not all that fair. Like, his big one right now, just because they did a Death Battle cast on it, and that doesn't mean it's a good episode, that doesn't mean it's like a good matchup, they just do whatever they feel like on that show, was Metal Sonic versus Cell from Dragon Ball.
How does that even...
And Metal Sonic fucking obliterates Cell.
Really?
Absolutely. I fucking hate it, but Cell gets fucking decimated by Metal Sonic.
That means reduced by 10%.
But
Oh, decimate.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I never knew that. It makes perfect sense.
I don't care. I'm still going to use it as a term for getting absolutely destroyed.
Decimated.
Anyway, but like the fights aren't all that interesting, and Cell has two much more interesting matchups in Dark Samus and Super Skrull. So it's don't really want to do that one.
Who was that second one? Super Scroll?
Yeah, it's a Skrull from Marvel that has the powers of like the Fantastic Four and stuff.
Okay.
But like, that one's kind of a bust. Amy versus Princess Peach, kind of lazy, not the most interesting.
Well, I think there's better
The pink female
matchup.
characters from two franchises.
Yeah, and if we're gonna bring Peach back, have her fight Zelda.
Peach has way more of a prominent role than Amy ever did.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, literally, like, do Sally Acorn. She was actually a princess.
But I'm trying to think of Sally matchups, and I don't think there's any that are all that interesting.
They really are,
Princess
yeah. Squirrel Girl.
That's not fair to Sally.
I don't know what Squirrel Girl does.
there's not-
She beat Dr. Doom and Galactus.
With what?
Squirrels.
Okay.
Technically, Sally would succumb to
Yep.
control, yeah. Like,
Well, technically no, because she doesn't have actual control over squirrels. She's just really good friends with them all.
they would be friends.
Yeah.
Take advantage of that.
Does she have
be friends and then stab her.
Well, does she have influence over squirrels?
Yes.
She has
Like superpower influence?
To an extent. It's mainly just because she's so nice to them and they like her so much.
She's got like squirrel charisma.
Yeah.
You know what really pisses me off?
Piss.
Yeah. The fact that her name is Sally Acorn. That feels like the first thing they thought of.
Oh, absolutely. It fully fucking was.
They could have gone
Sandy,
with,
no, that's SpongeBob. Sally?
They could have gone with Sandra. They could have just called her Princess Acorn. Like, that would have been more on the nose and clever. She's a princess, dude. Like,
okay, I did think of one, actually, a Sonic matchup, but it's way more obscure and there's no way they're fucking gonna do it. It's Emerald. You remember who Emerald is?
yeah, the robot.
Yep, the robot Emerald versus Claptrap.
Yeah, it could work.
That would
I
work.
think he fucking tanks Claptrap, though.
I don't know, Claptrap's got some cool shit. I think he loses.
So the thing about Emerald is he's kind of like Ultron. Like, he scans Sonic characters and then replicates their powers exactly.
But Claptrap's a wizard.
Is he? Voiced by Jack Black in the movie.
Did you ever play the pre-sequel?
No.
So in the pre-sequel, Claptrap is a playable character.
Oh.
And his, like, a special...
Like throughout the whole game?
Yeah.
Oh.
And his special ability is a wizard random staff thing. Like, random effect thing where he does magic, and then a random effect plays. He's a very good support character, because a lot of his abilities are based around support. Playing him solo kind of sucks. But using stuff like that, he could potentially not win, but hold his own against Emerald.
Because all I know about Claptrap is like him shooting himself in the head and walking off a cliff.
The thing about Emerald is he's like basically an infant without any outside influence, because Eggman is the first to find him, makes him basically like a shadow clone, and then sends him on this mission until Sonic intercepts him, and then he replicates Sonic's powers instead. Like, that's in Sonic Battle is, I think, the first time we see him.
Which he doesn't show up like ever anymore.
He's a really underused character, like, especially in the Archie series, which was kind of what he was made for, because that's when it started happening. Or I think that's when that, like, the tie-in to Sonic Battle was, like, based around that, if I'm not mistaken. But the unfortunate thing about Emerald is, like, he's dependent on his environment. He could replicate certainly some of Claptrap's abilities, but he can only copy things. He can't exceed them. Yeah, he can't make his own.
Another one that I've thought of, but I don't think it's all that good. It's just funny to think about. Is Big the Cat versus Waluigi. Because
they're obscure purple characters.
Obscure purple characters that no one fucking asked for.
Well, Big is the gift that keeps on giving. Like,
I love Big.
Nobody asked for him, but he's certainly welcome.
Not for a lot of people. A lot of people fucking hate him.
I fucking love every part. I'm old enough and mature enough now to say that I love every part of the Sonic series. Not the fandom.
Yeah.
Like the official canon. Unapologetically. I will be sorry for no part of that. I'm sure there's parts that I'm going to be sorry for that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
But, like, Big the Cat is a welcome addition. Just because he's just a guy. He's like just this dude hanging out. He's looking for Froggy. Like, are you gonna help him? What could be more important?
I don't want to help him. I just want to watch him look.
But like,
that's basically the whole
Waluigi is another one of those characters that, like, he was added due to necessity of needing another rival for a tennis game. That's literally it.
Is this his first appearance?
Yeah, he was added because they needed a rival for Luigi to go along with Wario.
They're sort of inverse when you think about it. Like, there was no function for Big the Cat to, like, be around.
Yeah, he was just there.
And Waluigi was never meant to exist, but they needed a fourth.
It's also very different on the public reaction to them, because as much as me and you seem to love Big is a very much hated character in the Sonic franchise.
Why? Just because they
find him annoying.
I never understood that. He doesn't...
People think he's annoying, they think he's stupid, they think his segments aren't fun.
He was marvelous on Team Rose.
Yes, I love it.
I will say this. People can bite me if they want to. He added a diversity to Sonic Adventure that no other character, even Shadow, had. Nothing was as unique as trying to catch Froggy.
And then with Waluigi, he wasn't meant to exist. And, you know, Sega seems to really love Big. Nintendo seems to fucking hate Waluigi.
Why? I mean, he doesn't have much for sure.
He was produced technically by a secondary company.
Oh my god!
Because the game was being developed by a company under Nintendo. When he made his debut, and he wasn't really meant to exist past that. But people loved him so much that they just kind of had to keep putting him in the party games and all that. So, you know,
They didn't want him to stay around.
No, because they wasn't theirs.
Oh, so they really couldn't get any like profit off of.
No, they still own him and they get all that, but because they didn't make him, they had some weird vendetta against him.
This is my baby.
I know
They
Nintendo
adopt a
is
child that they didn't want.
Yeah.
basically how they treat him. I know Nintendo is weird about their IP,
Yeah.
but
But like with that, we have their purple characters that didn't really need to exist. Here they are. However, one is loved. One had a reason to show up. One really didn't. One made their game more fun. One didn't do anything to the game, if I'm being honest, because Waluigi didn't really add much. One is hated by the company, one's loved by the company, and one is absolutely adored by the fans, and the other is treated as a fucking pariah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird that people because Big is like he's weird, but he's not weird how Waluigi is weird. He doesn't like. When's the last time you saw Big hurting anyone? Like he's not. Like I saw him in the drugstore the other day.
He's just chill. I love Big.
Yeah, I like his boots.
Not gonna lie, I've just convinced myself of Big versus Waluigi while we're sitting here.
He always asks how my day's going.
A little piece of trivia for the movie that I learned.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they were gonna add for the frozen tundra scene in the second one, or I guess the snowy hill scene. They were gonna add a big skeleton.
Well, it was confirmed that it wasn't actually Big, just a member of his species.
Yeah.
It would have been so funny.
But
did it actually happen?
They didn't want to scar his children, so they removed it.
It never
Oh,
happened.
come on. It's not children watching it, it was us.
They Nintendo'd their way out of it.
Yeah.
The only time Nintendo has ever punished people for like not loving a character enough is with Nintendogs. if you leave them alone long enough.
I'm really trying right now to think of more Sonic matchups that are good.
This is still unrelated yet more Sonic, like unsolicited Sonic lore. I told Luke this, so I'm sure you know, like Sega's position on fan-made content is like the opposite of Nintendo's.
Oh
like,
yeah, they love it.
yeah, as long as the other people aren't profiting on it, which is its own bag of cats because of like Sonic Omens and stuff.
Yeah.
Sega actively encourages people to make fan games, and there's one called Sonic 3. It's a remaster of Sonic 3 called Angel Island Revisited, and it's basically just the original game with like more sprites and stuff, but they change a few bosses just to be more like interesting.
Yeah.
And so the first boss in the game, once you get through like the first like segment as Sonic, is Eggman in the original, but they changed it to their interpretation of or Agent Stone from the movies.
Oh.
And they came out with this really cool art, as well as like custom sprites for Stone, where he's basically just like because he's Eggman's assistant. He's like in the style of Eggman, but he's based on the actor for Stone in the movies, and he has like his own like color aesthetic and stuff. It's really cool because like
I'm curious to see that. You should show me.
I think I showed you sprites.
I did not see any, though.
Oh, I'll show you once this is over. But I really do fucking like when the fans do things like that for Sonic. Not to take the conversation away from Death Battle.
No, you're good.
Because I'm just diving deeper into the hedgehog hole.
Dive into my hog hole.
The what? The thing about Sonic fan games is sometimes they're shit like any fan game is, but other times they're like better than Sega can produce.
I mean, look at Sonic Mania, a game where they literally brought in people who made Sonic fan games. Like, here's a budget, make us a game, and it's one of the most critically acclaimed Sonic games.
Yeah. Now it's getting hate because it's not considered a true member of the family because Sega didn't make it. But I'm like, well, in a way, Sega did make it because
they're like Well, they didn't make it themselves, but like they said
they did.
Well,
their own team was on it.
I guess Sonic team worked on it, and it's licensed by Sega, but
it was led by fan developers.
Yeah, it was led by Christian Whitehead, which is a group that was like known for making Sonic fan games, and
Christian Whitehead sounds like it could be a very different type of group.
It does.
that's just their name. I don't know what they do outside of the Sonic.
Bringing that up, actually, you made me think of. This is gonna take you, Nick, to potentially a place of cringe that you may want to forget, but it's what I'm gonna bring up because I actually do like the matchup, and it's kind of Sonic.
Okay.
and that is Sonic.exe versus Red.
Who's Red?
Red it's another creepypasta character from one based on a NES Godzilla game, but it's actually a fun topic to talk about. And I know...
Oh, is that like the ARG thing that is basically just Godzilla?
No, you're thinking of the man in the suit.
Okay.
Red is, it's that old, it's a corrupted game file.
Uh-huh.
But Red is, like, actually a little scary. Not in the way of, like, oh, I'm actively, like, terrified of this thing, but it's like, oh, that's kind of creepy to think about.
Vintage film footage just scares me anyway.
Oh, yeah. But Sonic.exe has a very heavy amount of cringe around it.
Is Red an original character?
Yes.
Okay.
Do not
There's no way around it. There's a lot of cringe, but I will say, despite all that, I have never strayed from my love of Sonic.exe just because of how it held a special place in my childhood.
I mean, no pun intended, it's like the ringleader when it comes to like the trope of like corrupted game creepypastas.
Oh yeah, like it
started it basically.
It got its idea from Ben Drowned, but then it became more popular than Ben Drowned.
Yeah.
And then just kept fucking going.
Well, it's more heavy-handed. Like Ben Drowned is mostly you have to like look at the footage and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like the in quotations the footage.
Yeah.
But Sonic.exe started as a story probably based on that, but also the game was made with the intention of like demonstrating that it's like it's a scary corrupted thing, whereas that's just like modified Majora's Mask footage.
But it is like such a big thing to the point that there is currently in development Sonic XYZ, which is a modernized remake of Sonic.exe.
Oh,
damn.
Like
official Sega?
No, I wish. I fucking wish.
Have they ever referenced that? I want to know, like in any of the Twitter takeovers.
Not that I am aware of.
I need it.
I need it so bad, but I don't think they'll ever acknowledge it. Well, actually,
they do some surprising things.
This is a little slightly off topic, but it kind of brings my faith that they might. There is a creepypasta called The Red Mist, but it's more popularly known, which Nick, I have a feeling you may know this. I don't know if you will, Luke. Called Squidward's Suicide.
Yeah,
I know about that.
I know Squidward's Suicide.
It was referenced in an episode of SpongeBob.
Really? What did they do?
There was an episode where I don't remember the exact.
Like a recent episode?
Yeah. Well, it was like a year or two ago now. But
what the fuck is going on with SpongeBob?
There was an episode where I don't remember the context of what they were doing, but they were like trying to open a bunch of doors, and behind one of the doors was it was like a slightly altered image from what we saw in the original creepypasta, but of the fucking Squidward with like the blacked out eyes and the fucking like red around him.
Oh my god!
Like it's like just straight the shot from Squidward's Suicide.
And is it so clearly definitely that?
It zooms into it and plays some kind of creepy music.
Really? This is gonna scare children. Like, can't do that.
But like that kind of brings in my faith a little bit.
Watch that clip.
That maybe Sega will.
Jamie, play that.
I don't think they'll ever fully acknowledge Sonic.exe. Because I think they want to stay kind of separate from it.
I mean, yeah, it's probably something like Sega corporate would never allow. But I know if they got the green light, that the fucking voice actors would go crazy with that shit.
Oh, dude,
that'd be awesome.
I'm this is another thing that I'm just like I'm fully on board with. A Sega licensed Sonic.exe game.
That would be awesome.
I think would go hard.
Yeah, like there's so much room for Sonic, with like
he sneaks his way into everything.
He literally does, dude. Like he has a racing game despite being
he's in a car.
Yeah,
the fastest thing ever.
He's trying to slow himself down. He's trying to bring himself to our level.
Like all he'd have to do is get out and push.
He wouldn't be faster like that.
I don't think they ever will. But if they did, that would put even more towards a Sonic.exe death battle. Because doing a creepypasta death battle is so hard to do. Because if you go just on the original story, there's so little to go off of.
Oh yeah, it's so vague to be scary.
But if you include all the extra stuff that we've gotten that maybe wasn't endorsed by the creator, you're opening up fucking Pandora's box on what you're going to be able to. It's the same reason I'm so iffy on that they'll ever do an SCP matchup.
Do you mean the when you say the thing's not originally intended by the creator, like the stuff
fan
that
stuff.
fans add
Yeah.
to the lore?
I know Nintendo's got too much of like a mushroom up their ass to ever do it, but like Sega, they did Tails Doll, and that was in like 1999.
What's Tails Doll?
Tails Doll was a character in Sonic R that was fucking terrifying.
So it's like a secret unlockable character that's basically just this Raggedy Ann doll, but it's Tails, and there's never a story because Sonic Racing is just like a foot racing Sonic game.
That's literally it. And he's got like a weird like antenna
he's
thing
got
with a
this
red
weird
orb on the end.
Antenna with like a weird.
And he doesn't move. He just floats.
That's the thing. He's like possessed by something, and I think it's implied that he's like a robot in a suit, but unlike somebody,
I always come back.
I always go. Can't wait till Shaggy plays the Tails doll. The thing is, like, that was so fucking creepy for the time, and they offer no other explanation other than like maybe it's haunted, but also like they imply there's deeper lore with it because they explain nothing.
And it has never come back.
Yeah.
Are there any other like random secret characters in Sonic games that do get some lore extra?
I mean,
to make that one kind of an anomaly?
Well, usually it's the secret extra characters is just a character who's not part of this story that they're just throwing in so you can have fun with the character you may like.
But still part of the series.
Yeah.
Like, still part of the franchise.
Oh, the other thing I did want to mention, now that we're on the topic of like mostly creepypasta and Sonic related stuff, I watched one and then watched gameplay because there's an attached game to it of like an ARG. I'm not talking about Shin Sonic, which I told Luke about, which is something else, but it's relatively recent, and it's like a really obscure kind of mysterious one called Climb the Green Mountain, and it's just this like Sonic PC port of like the original game, but it's like a very generic feeling creepypasta at first because like the music slows down as you play, the level becomes like monolithic in that you're no longer like going through and collecting rings and stuff. You're just like jumping on platforms in like an increase, like as the slope of this weird form of Green Hill Zone goes upwards. And that's the whole game is like when you get to the top, you just like stand there for 2 minutes and then like the sprite basically melts and then it resets. But when you look in the game files, there's a whole ass story embedded in the code and stuff. And from what I understand, it's basically like, it's not even a haunted Sonic thing. It's just like a weird interpretation of like this child who was buried in Green Hill fucking whatever. On Green Mountain. And it's implying that like the person who did it was the one burying him there, and they like that's what the Sonic thing is expressing.
Like the person who made the game was the one burying the...
Yes. And and even more so, what's crazy is there's a sequel.
What's in the files of that one?
I think the thing is like on itch.io or something, but
I might play that.
yeah, you should check out just Climb the Green Mountain, because that's by far the most obscure, like creepy ARG that I've seen of Sonic.
I would say that's more ambitious than the other ones because it's not like, you know, put a scary monster in there and then it's an ARG.
As far as narratives go, they really thought it out.
Yeah, it tries to make something of it.
Yeah.
All right, we are in our last two races, so I'm going to use this opportunity to rant about...
Plug my merch.
Yeah, plug my merch. No, I'm going to use this for our last two to simply talk about my favorite matchup and that I really, 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 really want them to fucking do.
How badly?
Really, 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 really want them to.
I think that was more release.
It was because I want them to do it even more.
Superman versus Goku 5.
Yeah,
Is there a 5?
We're skipping 4. And that is Ellie from The Last of Us versus Clementine from The Walking Dead.
That's right, you've talked about this.
Yes.
That is my all-time most wanted matchup. And it's one that I know they're at least a little interested in because it was in the Tournament of Champions and it got eliminated round 1. Which, like, it wasn't fair.
There's so much potential there, though.
There was. However, it was in the same bracket as Hulk versus Godzilla and Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts versus Palpatine, it was never gonna win.
How the fuck does Hulk versus Godzilla work?
Well, that's when we're getting.
Congratulations, here's your Happy Meal.
Here's your goober meal, sir. I'm supposed to get a toy with this, but it was one of the goals in the Kickstarter to bring Death Battle back was we get Hulk versus Godzilla.
Why? Like,
People want it.
Why?
Radiation. It was never gonna win with those two right there, and also Spike versus Levy, which is I have not watched Cowboy Bebop or Black Lagoon, but I've heard they're both really good. So that one, it was never gonna win.
Go.
However, it has shown, and it's shown up a couple times on Ballot Banter, which is basically when people got to submit their own matchups for the Tournament of Champions. They went to like a Discord channel, and they've just been going through all of them and talking about them. And they're on episode, I think, like 80 something. And they're not going through them individually. They're like, all right, this one's kind of cool, and they talk about it a little bit, and then they go to the next one.
Okay, so it's not an episode per.
No, it's like an episode. Like every episode has like 100 or so matchups. Okay. And yeah, they're like 80 episodes in. Clementine versus Ellie got brought up like 3 separate times because it was
on that show.
Yeah, because I think it was like the second most requested matchup.
Oh, really?
Which I'm very surprised of. I had no idea that would ever happen.
On that Discord specifically?
Yeah, which I think it only got suggested like 4 times. But like it was very rare that a matchup got suggested more than once. The only matchup that got suggested more was Kratos Asura, I believe. It is an episode that I have a deep love for because one, I don't know if either of you have played The Last of Us yet.
I have not. I want to.
It is a fucking masterpiece. Last of Us Part 2, not as much, but it's still a masterpiece. It just, I have my issues with it. The Walking Dead, I think all 4 episodes of The Walking Dead, I'm sorry, all 4 seasons, all 4 seasons of the Telltale series are fucking masterpieces, but specifically that first season is it's a masterpiece of not video games, of art.
I also agree with that. I have strong memories of, I mean, both, but like really the first game.
Now, a lot of people, I will say, have this idea of instead of doing Clementine versus Ellie, doing Rick from the show versus Joel from the game.
No,
and
it's two different platforms.
It's not a bad matchup. However, you're taking this idea of these 2 survivors who have grown up in the apocalypse and have had to learn it through and through.
So why not do Joel from the show?
Like, he just doesn't have as much right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But you have that, but then we can just do Rick versus Joel instead. Well, then you're giving up a lot of that connection for just 2 disgruntled old guys. Plus, Joel has Arthur Morgan, which is way more interesting. With Clementine versus Ellie, it also does something that I love and that I really want them to do more of is less episodes where it's coming down to who can punch a mountain harder. Who
Does that happen a lot?
Who can destroy the universe harder. That's what so many matchups are. It's just who can destroy more planets, who can destroy more universes.
Because it's the like really powerful characters that people want to see.
I guess they've reached the age of like they're trying to demonstrate that they're no longer just about the fight; it's about like the experience, and all the culmination of the research.
That's kind of why I was worried about like Marvel stuff for a while because like they keep going bigger and bigger. Like I'm missing the small stuff.
But that's what I like about going into. There's certain episodes coming up, like with Leon Kennedy versus Frank West, which is an episode that happens, which is awesome. But the reason I want this so much is their strength means fuck all. Like, yeah, I think Ellie's a little stronger, but it doesn't mean shit.
She's not nearly as lucky.
Because, well, one, there's that, but also it's like Clementine has a faster quick draw. She's been through more shit physically. She has a wider arsenal. She's been in the apocalypse longer.
Who had a better mentor? That's a good question.
Okay, so combat-wise, I would fully give that to Joel. Because Lee wasn't around for when Clementine was older.
Yeah. To
try and teach her combat stuff. It was more, he taught her how to initially shoot a gun, and then from there wasn't able to do much because R.I.P.
Well, I think he taught her, like, basically the most important lesson he taught her was, like, the will to survive.
Right.
Which, I mean, that, people sleep on that in zombie shit.
Oh, absolutely.
You know how, like, Glenn kind of stood out in the earlier Walking Dead stuff because basically he wanted to live more?
Yep.
Where everyone, like, I can't remember every character because the Walking Dead was not my...
I watched it
Strong
recently,
suit.
so if you can think of, like, descriptors, I can probably think of them.
Oh, she was some really hated character.
Andrea?
Yeah, she was really upset and mopey about her sister or whatever.
Yeah, that was Andrea.
And she couldn't make up her mind. She was having these, like, melodrama things going on.
Yep.
And it's like, it's the apocalypse.
And, like, grieve your losses, obviously, but this is not the time for this shit.
Yeah. And it also hinders everyone else because, like, if you're not actively contributing to, like, the goal, then you're kind of a burden. And that's something that Clementine was never because she had survival instincts.
Yep.
Also, like, Dale, I fucking love Dale from early Walking Dead. He didn't have great survival instincts either.
He walked onto a field on his own in the middle of the fucking night.
Yeah.
Super quick, that I'm gonna do this Walking Dead rant that I'm gonna keep short. There's a big thing in the community that one of the characters, Shane, the reason he's so hated is because he adapted too fast to the apocalypse and he was too ready for everything.
Yeah.
I am fucking sorry, but he was ready for murder too fast, and I feel like everyone... I'm gonna get close to the mic for this one too. I feel like everyone looks past that. He fucking sexually assaulted Lori.
The fact that he dabbled in his own, like, melodrama and did things like that is neither functional nor, like, form.
Like,
It doesn't...
there are certain bits where, like, yeah, he adapted to bits of the apocalypse quick, and that was a good thing, and the group just wasn't really ready for some of those things. But there's a lot of things that people just look at and, like, oh, he adapted. He was ready to murder someone at the slightest inconvenience because they might be a threat to the group. I'd also like to point out that he used his best friend's wife's grief as a reason to sleep with her. And then when she rejected him later, he sexually assaulted her. I love The Walking Dead, and I actually think Shane is a brilliantly written character of someone going through pure insanity, but the fan base has this weird fucking obsession with him of he did nothing wrong.
I don't worry about the fan base.
Yeah, no.
If it's a well-written character and
He is
makes
a
it
beautifully
then
written
that's-
character.
Never trust the fan base over over what the author...
You can just stop and never trust the fan base.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He is, I think...
I trust you, though.
I think he's a little bit more interesting in the comics. Like,
Oh,
especially if
absolutely.
you treat him as, like, a composition of the
He
two.
dies a little too fast for my liking, because he doesn't make it out of the original lot.
Yeah.
Because in the comics, look, Rick and Shane have their falling out over Lori before they leave the initial campground. Whereas in the show, they have their little travel thing, and then they end up on a farm with some people, and then a whole season plays out, and then he dies. I think he's more interesting in the comic because they play into that. I feel like in the show, they tried too much of the TV insanity of what you see of that portrayal of insanity, whereas in the comics, I think they actually got it down a lot better.
It's like a form of clout, basically.
It's the fucking, he fucking shaved his head and stared in a mirror at himself, how fucking dark he was getting.
Okay.
They also tried things like... Didn't he make it to... because he died at Herschel's farm.
Yeah, he was at the farm when he died.
They try things like they make him, like, crash out at, like, the most inconvenient time. Even though it's, like, self-contained and it doesn't add anything to, like, the narrative from the comics, they'll make it, like, the fence is getting, like, pushed over by zombies, and he's like, now is a good time to have an argument.
I think this is a good place to end it after this. My biggest point for, while I do think he's more interesting in the comics, keeping him alive that long was the best possible move, and that is the barn scene. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
So in The Walking Dead, they're on Herschel's farm, and Herschel, he is a man of God, and he truly believes that the zombies are still people. So he's not killing them, he is herding them into a barn with the hopes that one day they can be cured. Okay. And the group, they're staying there, they find this out. Rick's trying to, like, work with them, and while they're doing this, one of their other group members, Carol, her daughter got separated from the group, and they're spending days trying to find her. Shane loses his shit and starts going off on how they need to be ready for this new world. They need to do what needs to be fucking done. And he breaks open the barn door and these zombies start flooding out. And Rick is losing his shit on Shane, trying to get him to stop as they're just murdering zombies. All of the zombies are dead, and out walks Carol's daughter. She's a zombie. And Shane crumbles. He can't fucking do it. Rick walks up, fucking shoots her, because in that moment he knows what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But that was, I think, one of the best moments they could have had, because it showed that Shane was all fucking talk. When he didn't know what he was killing, he could mow through him. But the moment he saw someone that he knew, he fell apart.
Yeah.
And Rick stepped up, and I love it. I think that was one of the most beautifully orchestrated scenes, and why I think he needed to stay longer. And then the show overstayed its welcome. But
that whole dynamic is what shows the difference between likable characters and unlikable characters in The Walking Dead, because it's always that, like, the good characters, right? Well, like, because nobody's, like, morally good, especially by the end. All the good characters are the ones that, like, they have to make the sacrifices, and also they don't talk the talk when shit gets real like that. Unlike the hateable characters, excluding Shane, because he's legitimately interesting. Everybody else, like, even through, like, the governor arc, and even, like, Michonne at the beginning of when we meet her, she's kind of like that, in that same vein, where the insanity of the apocalypse gets to them, and they're ready to, like, you know, start sending it, but they can't do it when it matters. And I think there was, like, a thing with, like, one of her zombified brothers that, like, he got out or something, and she couldn't do it, and somebody else had to kill him or something.
Yeah, it was...
It's the same situation.
Do you think those type of characters are the not well-written ones?
They're definitely well-written.
They are well-written.
I'm getting mixed up when you say,
I'm sorry,
what
I meant was, like, not good characters, and then they're, like, morally less permissible.
Gotcha.
They're all interesting, but I think that's, like, the best tool for, like, how to show who's, like, a more interesting, long-lasting character, or, like, a, you know, one that you want to root for versus one that, like, you're like, well, at this point, they're just being an obstacle.
One of the best examples, I think, is the bad guy of seasons, I want to say 4 and 5, or no, I think it was 3 and 4, and that is the governor. With the governor, you get introduced to this very happy-go-lucky character who's he's putting on this front of just someone who's willing to help everyone. And then you watch him and his people find a military outpost of just, like, barely surviving military men and gun them down. And they take one of them back to camp. And they're like, oh, maybe he's actually going to help this guy for whatever fucked up reason. And then later on, you see inside his house, and he just has fish jars filled with the heads of people, of the zombified heads of people who he has killed. And then you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking psychopath. But then you also find that he has his zombified daughter chained up, that he still, like, hangs out with her and brushes her hair because he can't fucking let her go. Yeah. He is insane, and he is a perfect example of that. When it comes to his daughter, cannot fucking do it, but he is everywhere else. He is a fucking sociopath. I love the early seasons of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's why I want Clementine versus Ellie, or really any Walking Dead matchup.
The whole idea behind that series was, like, that it was created with the intention of actually showing how people really would behave in the apocalypse.
Yeah, because the zombie fantasy is always, like, it's always this weird power fantasy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I would survive. But it kind of, like, it shows the calmness. Because after the initial chaos of, like, say, like a large metropolitan area broke out, if you escape, you never see what's happening afterwards. Like, what exactly happens. And it shows every step of the way. Like, the gritty moments an average person would experience just having to, like, survive in a post-composed society.
But it does, one of the things I do like, and I think this will also be my last point, is it does, when you look at, like, pretty much a lot of times zombies are constrained to being a movie or a video game thing. And because of that, they have less time to work with. Looking at The Walking Dead, they get the entirety of it out there with the battles with other settlements and the battle against zombies, but also you get those somber, more chilled out moments where they just get to be human again for a little bit. They're just, there's a scene in the first season of just when they're at the camp of all the women, they're at the lake just cleaning clothes and talking and laughing. And you get moments like that throughout the show, which are, and when they get to the prison and they've really made a community, and then Carol is running a school for kids. I love that they actually get these moments to show the things that the movies don't really get to because they're much more constrained on time.
So they gotta be like zombies
Yeah.
are the immediate problem, the problem nonstop.
Yep, with this we get, they're people. They're still living lives. They're just also trying to survive, and that is a main priority, but they want to live too. I love it.
The survival is primary. Zombies are like the primary reason for that, but survival is the premise.
We need to come back with a zombie episode.
We do.
'Cause there's so much more I do want to unbox there, but we just don't have the time.
Yeah, we've been over this. My number one trope in any form of media is zombies.
So mid.
All right, check out my version series when that comes out, and check out my channel, All Heart No Skill.
All linked below. Or if you click that eye in the top right corner, you'll find them. Come on! Oh.
How long did that episode end up being?
2 hour, 3 minute recording.
3 hours, 9 days.
3 hours. I've missed like a week and a half of work.
They're like, we thought you died.
I apparently fucking did.
Talking about zombies. What do you want?
And record.